He was a very old man. He says to the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, I want to be able to go and fight in this battle. Please make sure that I go and I achieve martyrdom, and pray for me that I do not come back alive within 2 years. Not even 2 years, when he changed his belief and faith. His family told him, look, you have 4 children who are going to the battle, 4 sons. You don't have to go. He became agitated. He said, no, I have to go. And he went to the Prophet. He said, pray for me, please, that I come back a martyr. I do not come back alive. And he achieved martyrdom. This journey towards perfection. By the way, today is an introduction. I hope I make that clear. I'll be talking about a few things here and there, but they will all come together in the next 7 to 8 nights. This side of salawat, please. When Allah perfected the religion, what I was talking about before, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinukum. Yes, in the year 10 after Hijrah, 2 months before the Holy Prophet passed away, Allah had made the religion perfect. Now there was a problem. What was the problem? Religion is perfect. You can't hamper it. You can't do anything to it. When Allah makes something perfect, you can't penetrate it. Before the religion of Islam, people could penetrate it. They could do anything they wanted. They could oppose it. We know how many prophets who have sacrificed themselves. Yes or no? But now the religion was perfect. But these people, the system of Taghut, oppression, they wanted to live their life. They wanted to follow their desires. There's a verse in the Holy Quran which says, have you not seen a person who takes his desires for his God? Will you then be a protector over him? So these people of Taghut, they didn't know how to battle Islam, because Islam was spreading. In 10 years after the Hijrah, the Prophet had spread the message of Islam all over Arabia. We know that in history. I ask you a question. If you know there's a system that is so perfect and you cannot penetrate it, you can't try to destroy it from the outside, what do you do? Let's see how many of us are thinking. What do you do when you want to try and destroy a system? We become like Abu Sufyan. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. He becomes a Muslim. He never says Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. He becomes a Muslim. Now he is safe. Because according to Islam, as long as you say the Shahada, you are fine. You get the privileges of being a Muslim. That's all it takes to be a Shahada and to pray your Salat. That is for people who say La ikraha fi din. Don't compel me. So he became a Muslim. Yazid was a Muslim, so-called Muslim. Muawiyah was a Muslim, so-called Muslim. And because they could not penetrate from outside, they used the name of Islam to destroy it from inside. Look at what Yazid was doing. He had a monkey by the name of Abu Qais. And this monkey, he would make him wear a golden cap, a red royal, this thing. And he would keep him as his sort of, monkey couldn't speak, but it was like the position of his advisor, someone very high. And he had a dog. The monkey would ride the dog wherever it was going. And one day the monkey unfortunately passed away. Yazid gave him a proper burial. A monkey, full, kafan, everything. Ridiculous. And Yazid called himself a Muslim. His people were people who were reciting the Quran. They knew, they were Hafiz al-Quran, they knew the Quran by heart. They were praying. During the time when Imam al-Hussein was leaving Kufa, was leaving Makkah, and he was about to arrive in Karbala, what happened? Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyah stopped the Imam. And despite the fact that they were in the army of Yazid, they were still praying behind the Imam. Therefore, these people were fasting, these people were praying, but at the same time, they had a leader like Yazid who was an open drunkard. He was a womanizer. He was a person who used to flaunt everything the Prophet was against. Recite the salawat, please. So they had to come from within. They had to destroy Islam from inside. This is what exactly happened in the city of Kufa. They used threats, these Taghut. They used threats to be able to tell the people, listen, we are going to kill you. After Muawiyah, there was 7 million, more than 7 million dinar in the public treasury. It is said that when Yazid came into power, the entire 7 million dinars was distributed amongst people in the form of bribing. Money. The people of Kufa, when Muslim ibn Aqil came towards them, when Ibn Ziyad was sent to Kufa, what happened to them? They said, your money, your wife, your children, your family, your land will be destroyed if you do not oppose Imam Hussein. Their hearts were with Imam, but their swords were against the Imam. When Imam was traveling towards Kufa, so many times people said, you are going to Kufa? Do you know the hearts are with you, but the swords are against you? The system of oppression was working. It was spreading fast. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ. If we do not realize what the taghut is in today's day and age, we will never understand who Allah is. Imam Hussein, with 100 people. You know, a student came to me and he says, you know, sir, I want to change. I don't do anything haram, but I want to become a better Muslim. I'm like, then what's the problem? You live in East Africa, you don't live in a Western country. No offense, I'm not saying Western countries are bad, but you know, technically when you compare the two, it's easier to practice religion in different parts of the world. So I said, what's wrong? We are in an Islamic school. Why do you find it so difficult? He says, well, you see, not all my friends practice it well. And so it is difficult for me when I want to be able to socialize. And I said, look, how many students are in the school? He said, about 300 in the high school only. 300 students. I said, and you are one person. What is the ratio? 300 to 1. I said, good. Now let's go back to Karbala. There was 100 in the side of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. There were 30,000 Yazid forces. What is the ratio between the two? 1 to 300. I said, what's the problem? Each one of them, when they went to fight, they went 1 against 30,000. We know that. I said, so if you are facing 300 people, why do you fear the human being when Imam al-Hussein's message was to fear nobody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? All 3 of them, they had no fear of any person. Imagine if we, one human being, goes out into the battle. We are going out into the world today. 30,000 people we are facing who do not follow the religion that Allah had established through the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It does not matter. Because all that matters is not your relationship with the next human being, though that is important. All that matters is your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And like I said in the beginning of this lecture, that the one problem I found after so many years, 10 years, trying to find out where are we going wrong, we are going wrong by not being able to understand who God is. We don't know our God. The truth is, we don't know who Allah is. Not only that, the worst part is we don't know who we are. Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib has said, know yourself. When you know yourself, then you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we don't even know God, the truth of the matter is we don't know who we are, the status of a human being in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of my lectures that I will cover, the status of a human being. Recite a salawat, please. Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, he had a dream once, and he goes to the Holy Prophet. He says, Ya Rasulullah, I dreamt that there was a piece of cloth and it was being torn into pieces. Can you explain to me what this dream means? And the Prophet says, oh Jabir, there will come a time whereby mankind, Muslims, will use religion to suit their desires. In other words, they will only cut a piece of cloth of the religion to suit themselves. Apart from that, they have forgotten what religion is, what Allah has told them. They will only go after the taghut. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالتَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ. They will not even understand who Allah is. When we don't understand the oppression that we are facing day after day, it is not possible to understand who God is. It's as simple as that. Not only that, there was also a problem in the city of Kufa, which I talked about briefly, but I'm going to talk about in details right now. You see, I'm sorry, recite a salawat again, please. 1400 years ago, but let us see how much of the society of Kufa applies to today. They had 5 defaults. They had 5 problems, this city. The first one is that they were cowardly. The city of Kufa, these people, first is that they were cowardly. They were always contradicting each other. They were contradicting what they believed and what they did. They were the two things. They were cowardly because whenever a system of oppression came, they succumbed to it. They could not stand up and do what Allah required. That's number one. Number two, they had greed. The world, with the money that Yazid was offering them and the security that Yazid was offering them, they wanted it. Apply everything that I am saying in today's world. How much of it applies in today's world? Being cowardly, not being able to stand up with or for Allah's laws. Number one. Number two, greed. How many times does money sway us away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do we pay our zakat? Do we pay our khums? How many times when we are offered something, we would go after it, we forget the religion of God? This is what the Kufans did. The society of Kufa, they forgot about Abdullah al-Hussein. 18,000 letters they sent to Imam. 100,000 people, Muslim ibn Aqil got the bay'ah from. 100,000. And when Muslim ibn Aqil was being slaughtered on top of the palace, he prayed to Allah. He says, I cannot get a message to Imam al-Hussein to tell him not to come, because everybody has turned their backs towards the Imam. The third, jealousy. Surprisingly, the people of Kufa were very jealous. In fact, there were different divisions. The city of Kufa, after Imam Ali had established it, people had come from different areas. From around Arabia, they had come to the city of Kufa and they built it. That's how the city of Kufa actually evolved. And there were people from different parts of Arabia. There were Christians, there were Muslims, so on and so forth. But even the Muslims that were there, they were from different clans, different tribes. And because of that, there was always enmity between the two. This tribe is better than this tribe is better. There was no unity. And because there was no unity, the entire city was cursed in Ziyarati Ashura. When the 4th Imam was passing through the city of Kufa, at that time people realized, when they saw the heads of Imam al-Hussein and his companions on the spear, when they saw the heads, they started weeping and crying. 4th Imam was shocked. He was amazed. He says, now you are crying? He says, after everything, after you turned your backs, you are crying now? Isn't it too late? You are the ones. And even though they did not come to Kufa, they did not come to Karbala, he said, you are the ones that killed the Imam. Why? Because you turned your back against him. The killers were there, but you too were the killers. Why? Because you remained silent.